Hello everybody. Imagine a land that was once the center of Islamic civilization, where knowledge flourished, art and architecture reached their peak, and religious tolerance was a way of life. That was Al-Andalus, the historical name of Spain during its golden era under Muslim rule. From the 8th to the 15th century, Spain was not just an ordinary land, it was a paradise for scholars, poets, and philosophers who illuminated the world with their wisdom. But over time, that greatness faded. The year 1492 marked a turning point when the Catholic Kingdom of Spain conquered Granada, the last Muslim stronghold in the Iberian Peninsula. From then on, Islam seemed to disappear from Spain, replaced by the Inquisition, which suppressed the presence of Muslims and Jews. The grand mosques were converted into churches, books of knowledge were burned, and Muslims were forced to choose, abandon their faith or leave their homeland. Yet, history is cyclical. After centuries, the traces of Islam that were once buried began to resurface. Slowly but surely, Islam found its place again in the land of matadors. It was no longer through military conquest, but through a conquest of hearts. Entering the 21st century, something extraordinary happened. Islam in Spain was rising once more. Not in the form of a grand empire, but as a growing and strengthening community. Mosques that were once small and hidden now stood proudly in various cities. The Spanish people, who once saw Islam as foreign, began to recognize it, and some even chose to embrace it. So, what exactly was happening? Why were so many Spaniards now embracing Islam in large numbers? What made them interested in Islam after so many centuries since the golden age of Al-Andalus? This scene has become increasingly common in Spain. A man or woman stands before the congregation in a mosque, their voice trembling slightly, but their eyes shining with conviction. The Imam smiles and gently guides them through the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. As the final words are spoken, a chorus of Allahu Akbar echoes throughout the room. Tears of joy flow, warm embraces follow, and the new Muslim feels an overwhelming sense of peace, a new beginning in their life. This is no longer a rare occurrence. By 2024, almost every week, particularly at the Great Mosque of Granada, Spaniards are embracing Islam in significant numbers. While this trend has been growing for years, the rate at which people are converting has now reached unprecedented levels. For many, their journey to Islam begins with curiosity. Some start by wanting to understand a religion often misunderstood by the media. They read the Quran, learn about the life of Prophet Muhammad, and engage with Muslim friends. What surprises them most is that the deeper they explore, the more they find peace and clarity in Islam. One remarkable story is that of Javier, a philosophy professor from Madrid. Initially, he sought to study Islam purely as an intellectual exercise, convinced that it was just another religion with no real distinction. However, the more he delved into it, the more he was drawn to its depth and simplicity. I have studied many philosophies of life, but none are as clear and straightforward as Islam, he admitted. After years of searching for meaning, he finally stood before a congregation on a quiet Friday and declared his faith. Then there's Isabel, a former nun who left the church after feeling an emptiness she couldn't explain. She spent years searching for spiritual fulfillment, exploring various religions. When she encountered Islam, she found a sense of purpose and peace that had eluded her for so long. Today, she wears the hijab and has become one of the leading voices spreading awareness about Islam in Spain. The phenomenon of conversion is not limited to major cities like Madrid and Barcelona, it is happening in small towns and villages as well. Some Spanish imams report that the number of converts in 2024 has doubled compared to previous years. However, this is not just about individuals embracing Islam, it reflects a broader social transformation. Islam, once seen as foreign, is now becoming more familiar. As mosques become more crowded, churches, in contrast, are witnessing declining attendance. As dusk settles over Granada, the glow of mosque lights illuminates the cobbled streets, once silent witnesses to the golden age of Al-Andalus. The melodious call to prayer echoes through the air, blending seamlessly with the hum of city life. Across Spain, the Muslim community is expanding rapidly. Mosques are filling up, Islamic study circles are thriving, and more Spaniards than ever are embracing Islam. However, with this revival comes new challenges. One of the most intriguing phenomena in Spain is the decline of church attendance. Many churches, particularly in smaller towns, are struggling to attract congregants. Some have even been forced to close due to dwindling numbers. In several cities, Muslim communities have started petitioning to purchase these vacant church buildings and repurpose them as mosques. Naturally, this transition has sparked controversy. Conservative groups see it as a threat to Spain's Catholic heritage, while others view it as a pragmatic solution. "It's better for these buildings to remain places of worship rather than be abandoned," remarked a Madrid resident who supported the conversions. Though rumors have spread about hundreds of churches being turned into mosques, the reality is more nuanced. While some churches have indeed been repurposed, the more significant change lies in the growing acceptance of Islam within Spanish society. Even some active churches have opened their doors for interfaith dialogue and joint community service projects with local Muslim groups. With the rise of Islam in Spain, social changes are becoming increasingly visible. Halal restaurants are emerging in greater numbers, schools are beginning to consider offering halal meals in their cafeterias, and some workplaces are accommodating Muslim employees by allowing designated prayer breaks. However, not everyone welcomes this transformation. Islamophobic groups remain active, attempting to push back against the growing presence of Islam. Some media outlets continue to portray Islam negatively, though public perception is gradually shifting toward a more objective understanding. For many converts, the biggest struggle comes not from society at large, but from their own families. Some face rejection from relatives, lose friendships, or experience pressure to abandon their new faith. "I lost some friends after converting to Islam, but I gained a new family within the Muslim community," shared Maria, a recent convert from Seville. Despite these challenges, the future of Islam in Spain looks promising. With more Spaniards embracing Islam, the Muslim community is growing stronger, and societal attitudes are evolving. Islam is no longer just a chapter in Spain's history, it is now a part of its future. Like water that finds its way even through the smallest cracks, Islam is once again flowing through Spain, not by force, but through hearts, knowledge, and sincere belief. Across Spain, from the historic streets of Granada to the bustling avenues of Madrid, the revival of Islam is no longer just a trend, it is a movement. A new generation of Spanish Muslims is rising, not as immigrants or outsiders, but as native-born citizens who embrace Islam with pride. They are reclaiming a heritage that once flourished on this very soil. At the Great Mosque of Granada, Friday prayers are no longer just a religious ritual, they are a gathering of people united by faith and purpose. The mosque is filled with worshippers, some of whom were once skeptics of Islam but have now found peace in it. In schools, young Muslim students confidently wear their hijabs and kufis, no longer afraid of discrimination. At workplaces, prayer rooms are becoming more common, a sign that Spanish society is beginning to accommodate and accept its growing Muslim population. Yet, this is not merely about numbers. It is about a cultural and spiritual awakening, a fusion of Spanish identity with Islamic values, creating something new and unique. Islam is not replacing Spanish culture, it is blending with it, forming a beautiful coexistence. Many Spanish Muslims continue to celebrate their local festivals, enjoy flamenco music, and participate in cultural traditions, but now with Islamic values guiding their way. In Córdoba, a city that once housed one of the most magnificent mosques in history, the revival of Islamic heritage is taking shape. Islamic cultural festivals are being held again, showcasing the rich legacy of Al-Andalus. Scholars and historians are revisiting Spain's Islamic past, bringing back forgotten knowledge and wisdom that once made this land a beacon of civilization. Even some Christian communities, once skeptical of Islam, are now engaging in interfaith dialogues. A few churches that were once reluctant to embrace change are now hosting discussions on religion, inviting Muslim speakers to share their beliefs. It is a shift that would have been unthinkable decades ago. The most significant sign of Islam's resurgence in Spain is the rise of a new generation of Spanish Muslims, young, educated, and ambitious individuals who are determined to shape their country's future. Yusuf Fernandez, a young Muslim journalist, is using his platform to combat misinformation about Islam, challenging stereotypes and presenting an accurate picture of his faith. Meanwhile, Amina Lopez, a successful entrepreneur, has launched a fashion brand that merges Spanish aesthetics with modest Islamic wear, showing that faith and modernity can coexist. These individuals are proving that Islam is not a foreign ideology in Spain, it is a revived part of its identity. They are neither immigrants nor outsiders, they are Spaniards, just like their ancestors who once walked the streets of Al-Andalus. Years pass, and Islam in Spain continues to thrive. Mosques are no longer hidden but proudly stand as centers of worship and learning. The Muslim community is no longer on the margins but is integrated into the very fabric of Spanish society. History has shown that Islam was once a pillar of Spanish civilization. Now, centuries later, it is finding its way back, not through conquest, but through knowledge, understanding, and sincere faith. And while this story reaches its conclusion, the journey is far from over. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of a new chapter in Spain's history.